Tim Walz and J.D. Vance joined each other on stage for their first and probably only debate of this election season. For many viewers, it was 90 minutes of political nostalgia, as voters were reminded of a time when candidates could speak with both civility and substance. J.D. Vance and Tim Walz disagreed on much, but were able to find common ground on even the most contentious of issues, such as abortion and the border. One major issue from the debate was the border. Both J.D. Vance and Tim Walz expressed interest in solving the problem, but disagreed as to who's to blame for the surge in border crossings. Walz claimed Trump has no actual interest in solving the issue, as it provides a wealth of political rhetoric for him to point fingers across the aisle and to demonize immigrants.
What would Donald Trump talk about if we actually did some of these things? And they need to be done by the legislature. You can't just do this through the executive branch.
Vance instead pointed to the record number of border crossings during Biden's administration as a sign of Kamala's failure and reluctance to address the broken border. He continued, deflecting conjectures about family separation by Border Patrol agents, stating that Harris's refusal to close the border is what's truly leading to family separation. Abortion access continues to be a stark demarcation between Republicans and Democrats. Walz spoke about the increase in maternal mortality during pregnancies in states, especially Texas, with strict bans on abortion. He referenced Project 2025 and the possibility of bans on fertility clinics and other pregnancy-related resources. Vance offered a more tempered approach to the issue than the Republican rhetoric of recent. Vance challenged the Republican Party to support life in its fullest sense. He says he supports fertility clinics, lowering pregnancy and childbirth costs, and other supportive practices. He went as far to say that the American people have lost trust in the Republican Party's handling of pregnancies and abortion and must work to get it back.
And I think that what I take from that as a Republican who proudly wants to protect innocent life in this country, who proudly wants to protect the vulnerable, is that my party, we've got to do so much better of a job at earning the American people's trust back on this issue where they frankly just don't trust us. I want us as a Republican Party to be pro-family in the fullest sense of the word. I want us to support fertility treatments. I want us to make it easier for moms to afford to have babies. I want it to make it easier for young families to afford a home so they can afford a place to raise that family. And I think there's so much that we can do on the public policy front just to give women more options.
Hanging above the heads of both vice presidential candidates are the records of their running mates. Tim Walz pressured J.D. Vance to answer questions about January 6th and whether he believed that it was a fair and free election, a question that J.D. Vance worked to ignore.
Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
J.D. Vance continued to make it difficult for Tim Walz to set out Kamala Harris as a distinct candidate, separate from her time in the Biden administration. Despite disagreement on contentious and critical issues for this November election, the debate appears to have been a success for both candidates, as national polls show a rise in approval for both J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. I'm Conwell Morris, WUVA.